Hey everybody!
Hey everybody, Adam and Logan here. It's a beautiful, beautiful day, Friday morning here in Minnesota. We're taking a look at the pledge level. Wow, wow, wow. 3,271 backers. You guys, thank you so much. It's unbelievable. It's been wonderful to just kind of watch the development of the campaign after the crazy start on day one and just kind of how it's evolved since then.
So much good interaction, so many good comments. We have loved hearing from all of you. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, we're trying to keep an eye on, all this stuff on Board Game Geek, on our Discord channel, on Facebook, and on the Kickstarter comments page. We're trying to keep an eye on everything. We've got our team's kind of standing by, watching the comments. Wow, just so much positivity and buzz. So today, Logan and I have been looking forward to, because this is the day that we're going to talk a little bit about strategies, and we're going to talk a little bit about, the making of some of these arenas and units and what we loved about it, and just, I can't wait to get to that. Now, before we do though, just to recap, so we've rolled out 3 spotlights now. The majority of that was really gameplay related spotlights. We've got a couple more of those, and then we've all been waiting for the Remastered spotlight. That is coming, possibly Monday or so, give or take a day, but it's after we finish the gameplay related stuff. We're working hard on that. Thank you so much for being patient waiting for that Remastered stuff though.
Yes, and we have been listening. We know you have lots of questions. We're going to answer as many of them as we can in that spotlight. It may not answer everything, but I promise there will be answers there for you.
Yes. So before we dive in too deep, now that we're at 639,000, I think we may have unlocked a couple of stretch goals.
Just a few.
And by the way, they are amazing. I still can't believe we have unlocked all of that already. And we're getting close to unlocking the thick tyrants, and this includes the bosses and the titans from Remastered. So we're talking, 19 or so chips are all getting upgraded from this one unlock. Incredible. But we have in front of us actually prototypes of what?
Yes, so this is one of my favorite stretch goals, and they've kind of been sprinkled throughout, but I think I have all the ones that have been unlocked so far. So these are some very special opportunity cards and chips. So up to these unlocks, all the opportunities in the game led you to unlock your hero prowess. So you could get hero prowess cards. There are a few non-hero specific prowess cards that you could unlock sometimes, but all of your opportunities let you unlock those skills. These opportunities that we have unlocked, and I believe there are some more to unlock, these opportunities give you a few more unique options. So currently there are 4. 2 of them unlock opportunity units. So these are some very special units, not from any of the given regions. These are actually Ryan, our lore expert, brought in some outside units from nearby regions, some neighboring factions. So very special units that you have to achieve these opportunities to then recruit. And additionally, these 2 are tactics. So these are extra tactics that the enemy will never have access to, but if you unlock them through these opportunities, you immediately get the tactic, and once you play or spend that tactic, it will go back to the supply, and for the rest of the game, anytime you need a tactic or can gain a tactic, you can choose that one. So it just broadens your tactical options a little bit, and I just absolutely love it. These are hands down my favorite unlocks so far.
Speaking of those tactics, so Remastered also has 7 more unique tactics that are not like the 4 that you'll see in Victorium. So those 7 will also be available as a player if you combine the 2 products.
Yes, so when you choose your starting hero, you will have the option to either take the tactic that class, tactician, defender, attacker, archer, would naturally come with in the game of Victorium, or if you have Remastered, you can instead choose the faction matching tactic. So the new Argonaut tactic from Remastered as your starting tactic if you want. And it's not a bad idea, because again, that tactic will then be in the pool for the rest of the game, and just broaden your options a little bit.
Yeah, they're not exactly stronger or anything like that. They're just different. And yeah, just having more options is always good, right?
More options, more possibilities. So these are my favorite. Don't get me wrong, I love the thick chips. so many fun stretch goals, and you guys are crushing it. Amazing.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So I think we wanted to take some time to open it up for a little bit of a Q&A. Logan and I are here to answer any gameplay-related questions. Any and all of them are welcome. While those start to roll in, we have a few topics that we wanted to just cover because we've been kind of brainstorming and thinking about, and we've been very excited to just cover some of the design stuff that we enjoyed making the most.
Yes, and before we get to that, we should mention our next live stream on Thursday the 20th at 11 a.m. is going to have a trivia contest and giveaway. So, we are going to be giving away 3 copies of Origins. So, Origins, for those of you who don't know, is not in the Remastered edition. It's been sort of repurposed into Victorum, but is an amazing standalone Hoplo game on its own that will help you get excited while you wait for this Kickstarter to deliver. So we'll be giving away 3 of these. It will be trivia-based, so know your Hoplo history. Know about this campaign, know about the old campaigns, know your Hoplo history if you want a chance to win.
That's on our YouTube channel. Did you
That is
mention
correct,
Yep.
yes.
Perfect, good. Wow. And so that's, yep.
Yep.
At the top.
Get excited.
All right, so let's talk about the various things. So I'm looking at the mat, and I'm seeing already, it's been updated since Monday, we got another set of prototype arenas that came in the mail. They're a little bit closer to what we were looking for in terms of double-sided and edge stitch. Let me just set this down.
And I know we've
here.
mentioned this before, and you've asked this question before. These are not 100% final. Some are closer than others. Some are missing some texturing and some artwork. These are amazing prototypes, but not the final product.
Yeah. Incredible. And there's 8 different arenas. So I just want to wrap my head around that simple fact. Like, a single arena is a game. It feels like a whole unique game, right? And then when you simply take the exact same set of units, the exact same event, and put it into a different arena, it's just a whole different game.
And I think that's key. So with Origins, kind of one of the things we were repurposing early on was those arenas. We went into the Victorum development process knowing that we wanted to keep that, Xanadu layout, that Atlantis layout, the El Dorado layout. We knew we wanted to repurpose those, but as we developed it, before we had the different event types, it still didn't quite feel like enough. We were developing new arenas, but you could still predict too much and kind of build that perfect, unbeatable squad to go through. And that's kind of where the events came from, was that variety. And, some of it came from Origins. You had that King of the Hill style battle, but only on the Xanadu arena. And at a certain point, that the penny just dropped, and we said, well, what if these were 2 different things? What if we had our arenas and they brought these little sets of modifiers? So you have your little reference sheet and it tells you that, on this arena, there are these weapon racks. You can run and grab these and do these little various things that make each one just different and unique and special. But you have to approach them all differently depending on the type of event that you're playing on that arena. Some arenas are going to excel for certain events depending on your squad build.
Yeah. So, I'm just looking at the new Argo arena here with weapons racks, Logan was saying. I don't know if we've got which camera here, so front camera. So, the weapons racks are the locations that you need to be on at the start of your turn for the King of the Hill. That's very interesting because, again, the arena rules require your gladiators to be deployed together and handcuffed, essentially. So the movement in this arena alone is completely different than all of the others. And you're trying to pivot the gladiators, trying to get them to work together. Either, positioning for the defender to take the hits versus trying to attack, picking up the weapons, holding your position for the King of the Hill. The capture the flag is super interesting too because you can't just run up there with the tactician. You got to work together and try and get it and then somehow walk it back. But capture the flag for any other arena, might favor the tactician versus I might actually prefer a defender or an attacker for the capture the flag event here. So that's really interesting. Yeah.
And also from a strategic standpoint, you're going to play it so differently. So if I'm looking at this and it's a capture the flag event, I'm telling myself a couple of things. One is that my units are not going to die. With the exception of my hero, I can lose these units. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
They're just knocked out. So what I'm considering is, can I pull off a situation where I let enough of my units die that I only have my hero left, who,
Yes.
when they're the last remaining unit, doesn't get handcuffed because there's nobody left to handcuff them to, and then can I run around freely, get that flag, while the other team is still shackled together and too slow? These are the unique kind of strategic thoughts that go through your head as you're looking at the different setups as they interact with the different event types.
Really quick, and I think we mentioned it before, but I want to be super clear. So for those sport events, yes, the benefit is you don't lose those gladiators, right? But I can't also just simply take out the AI lineup either. So I need to be able to complete this event, whether it's get 6 points from the King of the Hill or successfully bring the flag back home. I have to do that without defeating the entire lineup. So even just this last event I played, super cool, because I left them, I knocked down their roster down to a tactician. And what I had left was an attacker that was their closest unit. They ran up to the attacker, attacked my attacker, and what did the attacker do? Retaliate
right back.
Suddenly I lost that event, and I totally forgot that I left the attacker there and I was going to do damage. And so some of that, thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead is super important in this.
And it plays into the squad composition too. So one of the things that we both were mindful of in development, but also just kind of was naturally emergent as we came up with these different event types, was how it impacted your different classes. All of a sudden you had units that were not always that good in lethal events. You had your tacticians who were quick, but they don't hit very hard. They don't have very many hit points. If it's a till the death event, you're not putting out your tacticians typically. But suddenly, with King of the Hill and Capture the Flag, they're given a time to shine. Your tacticians can be really great at Capture the Flag because they can get there quick, get out before they're dead. Your defenders are wonderful for parking and getting those King of the Hill points. It lets your units shine in different ways, but also raises the question of squad composition. Do you want to diversify and be good at everything, or do you want to focus and try to take one type over and over again and be great at that type, but pretty mediocre at some of the others?
Yeah, so just trying out the different lineup compositions, but I'm already finding myself favoring some sort of style of play. So I'm looking at, I love displacement. I love the hurl and the hook, and I want to grab a couple of those just to give me options, but they're hard to keep an eye on because already the tactics are it's just oozing with strategy, and now all of a sudden I can hurl units and pull. Even when handcuffed, I have to keep them adjacent to each other, but I can now somehow figure out how to get the flag faster home using hurl already. That's a very important part of, so when I play, and again, this has to do with the travel piece, but I love how versatile you can just hop onto Harbor and go to a region and pick that gladiator up that has the hurl or the hook that you want. One of the things that you may have noticed is that the frontmost gladiator from each region is there for you to see. So I can kind of see, okay, so yes, absolutely. Right now, Kunlun has the Cestus unit with the Hurl 1. So it wouldn't take me, a few steps just to hop over there. I can force that unit because every event pretty much starts with a local unit, right? So I get into a sport and bring the Cestus out, and all of a sudden I can recruit it when I successfully defeat that event. Anyways, we could talk for hours on all of the strategy and the different arenas.
Well, I think one other thing that might be worth highlighting, because I don't think we've talked about it in depth yet, is that the King of the Hill places are not always hexes. So there are some very interesting arenas. Let's see. So Atlantis is a perfect example. For Atlantis, there is no King of the Hill hex. It is actually the Trident that always begins. Now, for those of you who have not seen some of the previous playthroughs or the content creators who have been uploading footage, this Trident is a great tool. You pick it up, you can throw it anywhere on the board to deal them damage. It deals them 2 damage, or if you're a local unit, you can actually deal 3 damage, which for a lot of enemies is an instant kill. You can take out a lot of attackers, tacticians, and archers that way at one go. But in a King of the Hill fight, you have to be holding this at the start of your turn to get that point. So suddenly, the tactical trade-off is, I can't deal this great attack, this great damage, if I want to be getting the King of the Hill point. And it's so much fun. There's one other, let's see if I can find it here, that I don't think we've shown off too much yet. Of course, it's at the very bottom on the very back.
Oh, yeah.
In this particular arena, there is...
I get it. So, yes. Okay, so Parthian, so we have the chariot in play here. And so, again, as laid out on the arena reference sheet, they all have this. It gives all the details that you need, and it's just a few lines regarding how the arena chip functions, how the King of the Hill, how to earn points, and then a local advantage. For this one, the chariot always moves 3 hexes, and anything that's in the way is shoved out of the way. But what you can do is hop on the chariot, and again, it takes a little bit of forethought and planning to figure out where I'm going to get an archer up there. It gives me more options, right? But you have to start on top of this in order to earn those points. So you have to ride that chariot whether you like it or not. Super interesting.
Which can make you, sometimes it's good, but sometimes it makes you an easy target. You hop on that chariot, and it brings you right to the enemy. So you have to be very mindful of that and how it interplays with what units they have, where they have those units. Additionally, it's worth mentioning the local benefit to this arena is the ability to go on these center 2 hexes, which most units cannot. So if you're hopping on here thinking, I'm going to get away from them, if they're local, they're just going to go right to the middle, and they can hit you pretty much wherever you are. And it's so much fun. This may be my favorite arena. I'm not sure. I like a lot.
It's a great one. It's a great one. Yeah, and then the last thing, and again, we could talk about this for hours, but it's worth mentioning, King of the Hill isn't always just 1 hex either. So you saw the new Argo, there's 3 hexes. Here's a chip on the Kunlun, it's the 4. So there could be 1, there could be 3, there could be 4, and you can earn multiple points if you're on multiple hexes.
So you earn a point for each unit that's on a King of the Hill location, be it a chip or a hex at the start of your turn.
Right, so yes, definitely, if you're in the Kunlun region, King of the Hill is a lot of fun. It's a little easier to achieve, but you have to get those sport events. So again, the whole spectating idea to get those events cycled to find the King of the Hill is definitely a strategy that's in play. So...
is there anything else that you want to go over from a development standpoint before we start taking questions?
Okay.
Jump to questions?
Sorry? Yeah.
Perfect.
Sure.
All right, so I know we've had a fair number of questions come through, so we're going to go through some of those now before we get to the next chapter of Adam's playthrough. So first up, we have the question, how does the Atlantean AI work for Capture the Flag events?
Okay.
So we can go ahead and pull that up, and I will say, at the moment, most of the AI is written in such a way that it is universal across events. So there's not special AI marking and targeting for the different events. Now, obviously, that could change, but right now it's working very smoothly. So for the Capture the Flag event specifically, the flag is always beginning on the enemy starting hex. It starts on their number 1 hex. So their units are coming out and they're marching towards you. You don't have a clear path. They don't need any particularly special targeting because it's on you to figure out how to get through them, how to get around them, how to get to that flag without killing them all, how to get back without them killing you. Sometimes you will be able to leverage a little bit of a distraction to draw a unit off while somebody grabs the flag and gets it back. But currently...
Sure, yeah, I've seen a couple comments on specifically the Atlantean AI, and I think I know where this question was trying to lead us to. Just know that in terms of mark and target, and by the way, just a note on marking and targeting. So on the AI's turn, during the movement phase, we check each of their marks, right? So you're going to move the unit towards its mark. And if it's an archer, it'll stop shy if it can reach its target, right? But when it moves towards its mark, it'll go all the way to its mark, because in this one, It's the Trident, right? So if the Trident's available, it'll move.
Right, so there are basically two sets of marking rules. If it's marking an enemy unit, what is really marking is how close do I need to be to attack that unit, and it's going to go that far and then stop. If it is marking a non-unit, be it a chip or a certain hex spot, as they will sometimes mark, in that case, it's trying to get onto that spot. So units that mark the Trident are going to go and try to grab it. And on this arena, for the Trident specifically, now this doesn't necessarily impact the Capture the Flag events, but it does impact King of the Hill, they will go for an unoccupied Trident. If they see it lying there, they're going to go try to grab it and then throw it at you to deal a bunch of damage.
One of the things, and this is an important point, but it's important to note that all of this marking, the targeting, even the local benefits, all of that is still potentially subject to change. So we may still yet have the AI mark the opposing unit that's holding the Trident. That's one of the things that we tried earlier. We took it off. We're looking at putting it back on. But rest assured, through extensive playtesting, we will settle on where it should be. I know that some of the fights may feel a little funny because it's not, well, shouldn't he actually be going for the guy with the Trident? Not necessarily, because they're also scared of the Trident too, but we also wanted to make sure that it makes sense mechanically, not just thematically. So we're looking at all of the things. Yes.
Yes, so to that point, one of the main reasons they do not currently mark the Trident holder is because it's too easy to manipulate. If you give the Trident to a very quick unit, you can run them around, and if the enemy units mark that unit, then oftentimes you can draw them away from their perfectly legitimate targets. If there's somebody closer, but they're marking the Trident holder, you can manipulate that too easily. So they will target the Trident holder. If they're close and they can hit them, they're going to hit the person with the Trident. But they won't necessarily chase them down to the exclusion of other better targets.
Sure. So I think the message ultimately is just leaning into the level of strategy and the ingenuity of the marking and movement, as well as the targeting and attacks. Targeting and attacks. And so while all of that is in flux, when it's all settled in, it's going to feel like a super streamlined and in-theme event.
And I will say on that topic, it's worth noting that these are some of the biggest changes, I think, and they're not huge, but the biggest changes coming to Remastered is this streamlining of the enemy marking and targeting and just making them easier to understand while also making them play more intelligently.
Very good. Okay,
all right, next up,
question.
Are
Carthage and Machu Picchu expansions part of Remastered? Good question. Short answer is yes. Long answer is so. All 7 factions that are in the original series have been redone and retold into a story that our fabulous editor, Ryan. So Ryan is, how do I put? He's sort of retold the story of historical fantasy and leaning into some mythology, and so all of what you see in here is, in that regard, will be very similar in Remastered. So in other words, the Machu Picchu that we know is technically now sort of Amazon's, but we've also done a lot of skills moving around too. So the Amazons are in the Remastered though, so there will be all 7 factions that you see here in that.
So they won't have any of the same names that you're familiar with, but as you look at the units and really look at the stats and skills, they will feel familiar. You'll probably be able to pick out like, oh, this used to be Machu Picchu.
Very good. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yep. Next up, have you considered having the option to play across different region maps? Sort of. So they don't link together super well. Obviously, there's borders around the edges. So we do have a couple of things that I don't want to say too much about yet that may roll in multiple maps in a single fight, but I'm not really ready to say too much about that just yet.
Yeah, that's a teaser right there. But yeah, so we do have larger arenas, and those are in Remastered. And I think we mentioned this before, but when you finish building your hero and roster, you will be able to port those and play on a more epic battle with a lot more space and a lot more units in play, and it's just a different feel altogether with the bosses and the titans. So you already get a real nice, different change of pace feel just from using the remastered solo content, which is a ton of content, even in remastered, yeah. So next, yep.
Yep. How does Victorum compare as far as tactical decisions during combat and during hero upgrading?
How does Victorum compare as far as tactical decisions during combat? And do you want to cover that one?
Yeah, so I would say they're both important. So your hero upgrades, your out-of-combat upgrades, are going to give you longevity. They're going to say, hey, I can take down this Primus, or most importantly, what Scion am I trying to face, and how do I build my hero to beat that Scion? Sometimes it means a really powerful attack. Sometimes it means a lot of weak dice. Sometimes the attack is not going to be the answer, and you want some of these unique abilities. Now, understanding how that works is going to come with familiarity, comes with getting to know these prowess upgrades, getting to know the different Scions that you face, getting to know the Primuses that you face along the way. But this is going to set you up for that tactical success. Now, the bulk of the time spent playing the game is going to be in combat, making those decisions. And how those decisions play out are equally impactful. You lose the game at your Primus fights. You can, completely just die and it's over there at those moments. So those tactical decisions are every bit as important as your upgrade decisions.
Sure, yeah, no, and I was processing the question because I was trying to think of compare what. But this is a very good point. So we have the squad management as a major aspect in the strategy and developing the synergies and the tactics that you need to suit your hero and your playstyle. We have the tactical on the arena, but I think it shouldn't be overlooked that the travel aspect, the map, is a very important third strategic part of the game. Now, granted, we only spend a few minutes on this and a lot of minutes on that. The importance of this cannot be overstated. I think that for long-term planning, you want to hit those lethal events and upgrade your hero. But every so often, you're going to get knocked down to size in terms of roster. And all of the decisions and deciding sport, yes, I need a unit, I need a tactic, I need, you can even spectate to do that. But it's super important that you plan your pathing, and as soon as something doesn't work out, you almost have to reroute. And you want to take the long way to the Primus sometimes because you're giving yourself some extra wiggle room just in case you have to spectate. And so, super interesting. I
think the key to travel too, and this is fascinating how this plays out in game, is that spectate option. So you're never trapped. You can never back yourself into a corner from which you can't escape, but you are going to back yourself into corners sometimes. You have 12 weeks to complete your act. And if you're not careful, if you're not mindful, or if you get derailed and you get diverted off because you can't take another lethal, so you have to go this way and get some sports, you can find yourself farther away from your Primus fight than you have weeks left, which is not the end of the world, but it will force you to then take that spectate action to get there without spending the weeks. And what that does is it's going to pump Banes into the bag and make the game harder, make your combats more difficult.
Yeah, conversely, if you're close to the Primus that you want to take down and it's only week 9 or 10, you're kind of stuck in that decision. Well, I'm healthy, I have the roster that I need, maybe it's just time to do the Primus now and not tempt myself to trying to improve the hero 1 or 2 more times because that can come back to bite me. So while you have 12 weeks, you're often only using, 10, 11. If you use all 12, that's amazing.
And maximizing that 12-week act is huge. Like, getting it just perfect. Not taking more spectates than you need, but not failing too many combats either. It is
So all of that has to do with the routing and the travel and the planning of this part of the game. Yes.
And I think our last question is an easy one. Are the premium health chips for Hoplo the same size as the health chips for TMB? That would be a yes, they are the same dimension, same weight, I believe. The only difference really is kind of tonally in terms of the graphic on there and how it lends itself to that game. But functionally, you can absolutely use those health chips. But the Hoplo ones are cooler for Hoplo.
We do actually have a little bit more time, just so you know. So I think that if that's all of our questions, Logan and I had a couple more talking points that I wanted to just cover with the excitement and part of the design, part of the process. So we wanted to talk about the scaling and the difficulty of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we should probably discuss because it's a good question. Yeah. So I'll start. So the game is broken down into 4 different acts, right? And so all of Act 1 is essentially the same difficulty. Of course, it depends on what your roster looks like, and if you're a little low on units, the event itself will be a little bit more difficult, possibly. It depends on where you are. If you're in Atlantis and then you have a King of the Hill event, that's going to be a little bit maybe a challenge if you don't have the right units. So there's that difficulty. The broad strokes difficulty comes from 2 things. Number 1, the act modifier. So we have this, I think I show this, and I'll show this again close up when I'm playing the game. But essentially Act 1, 2, 3, and 4 have that modifier. So on the event for Act 1, it's just as written. For Act 2, you actually have to add a gladiator to the back of every single lineup you do, both sport and lethal, which sounds like a lot, but it is somewhat significant. And so then Act 3 adds another tactic to that unit, and then Act 4 adds another gladiator. So again, you can kind of see your events are getting more and more difficult by way of adding units and tactics to the fight itself. So, yeah.
And it's definitely something to be mindful of as you play, because that first act is going to be your easiest act. The events are balanced in such a way that oftentimes you outnumber the opposition. You want to take advantage of that act to build your squad, to build your hero, and get ready for things getting more difficult. Soon the lineups are going to be a little more even. By Act 4, they're going to outnumber you. It's going to ramp up, and you need to be prepared for that.
The other scaling difficulty that we have is also important, and that's the Banes. So these black chips that you saw on Tuesday, and you'll see again later today, is the stuff, the Banes you get from surrendering an event and from spectating. So in general, the Banes are, I would say, significant. Like this one says, permanent, your capacity is reduced by 1.
Whoop.
So it essentially goes there, and now all of a sudden I can't have a roster quite as large as I wanted. And it's costing me, literally, a lethal event reward to counter that capacity. So, they're little-ish, but they really compound on each other. So as soon as you get 3 or 4 or 5 Banes in your bag, you start to draw them pretty frequently. And then when you get 2 or even 3 in an event, you're kind of in a tough spot. So while spectating is fantastic in allowing you to pick and choose your battles, and you're going to have a very successful Act 1, even Act 2, if you're a little too liberal on the spectating, then you're going to have too many Banes in your bag. So you got to be careful. Yeah.
I think we should retitle this to Too Many Banes.
Yep. There we go. All right, and then
So we did have one more question come through. Has there been any thought to adding future additional overworld maps that you could use with the current map? It is something that we've talked about. We don't have any concrete plans yet, but that is definitely, we've had long discussions about where we would like to see the game evolve and how we would like to expand it. So we have discussed that for sure.
Sure, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything. There was one other bullet point that we wanted to cover. You and I wanted to talk about the squads a little bit. I think we did already earlier, but to just recap on the differences between the defenders, attackers, we talked about the attackers having that retaliate earlier. I don't know if we can switch cameras to this. So on the left-hand side, you'll see these icons. So each of these gladiators does actually have that icon on the right side of it. Let me give you a different example here. There's Tactician, Archer, So these icons are basically its class, and so a quarter of the chips have the first strike or the archer class icon, and so that just means all of those chips will be able to attack the turn it comes out into play. And then, the retaliate, that another quarter of the chips are attackers, and they'll have that retaliate built right in. Now, the composition of your squad is super important because you're managing how healthy is my roster. And, maybe having one of each type just in case, I love how the events, they have a lineup, and your roster, the lineup that you will be putting into play, can be pivoted. Your strategy can pivot halfway through when you, wow, my archer went down right away. I need an archer though, so I'm going to put another archer out as one of my next unit. So being able to have the different options to pivot to is super important when building your squad composition. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
One other thing. So the Vesuvius units. So these units are not part of any particular region per se, but they are part of the Scion region, really. And you'll see after we're done, I'll be playing a Vesuvius battle, and the Vesuvian units have the blasphemous skill, which is super interesting. So that unit is a little bit stronger when an opposing elite unit, your hero, is in play. And so now that unit is, so you almost don't want to deploy your hero in that fight or wait for the right moment to deploy it, because otherwise it all of a sudden gets stronger. Conversely, when I'm headed to New Argo, I'm going to be trying to pick that guy up and use him, because when I get to the Primus, Decimus, later today, I'm going to be using him, and he gets a +1 black attack die when Decimus is in play. So I'm hoping to gain that benefit. So these guys are really good when against your hero and against their hero. Incredible. Okay.
Just a little preview of the fight to come. A couple more questions that have come through. One specifically about the Trident and how it works in the Atlantis region. So can the Trident be thrown to a space or not always at a unit? Or can you pass it to teammates with or without dealing damage? So a couple of questions there. First, you can never pass it to anybody else. So if you're holding it, the only way you're getting rid of it is if you throw it. In terms of where you can throw it to, you have to target an enemy unit. And the reason for that is, again, since the enemy is targeting a free Trident, if it's sitting there, they want to go grab it and use it against you. So the reason you can't just throw it to the corner of the map is, again, because it becomes too easy to manipulate them and draw them away. So if you throw it, it has to be at an enemy unit. If it doesn't kill them, they are going to pick it right back up and throw it at you. But if it does kill them, then you can get that added benefit of there's a free Trident and opposing units are going to go for that one. So you have to be mindful of it. You have to think about it in certain ways to keep from making it too easy. And then next up, strategically, is it usually recommended to upgrade your dice or add an extra dice? It's a good one.
Okay. So as a hero, we're talking about developing a hero here. I'm going to put this sheet out here so we can kind of look at it very carefully. So as you can see, your hero can only have up to 4 dice, right? Now, it's interesting because adding an extra die does actually give me, 2 more chances at a hit. You count the aces on the yellow, versus when you increase or upgrade a die, you're actually only increasing the probability by 1. While it is tempting to just go out and add extra dice, there are a couple of, I think there's an event or 2 that actually make it a little bit more punishing if you have extra dice, and I think there's a Scion that will play into that as well. So it may depend on the Scion, the Primuses, the events you see. Upgrading dice and having a more reliable attack often can outweigh just the sheer number of aces you have in your collection.
And there are abilities that directly tie to that. Now, not every hero is going to have them, but if they have, for example, Heave is a good one, where they roll their highest attack die against an enemy a certain number of hexes away. If you've focused all your efforts into getting all your attack dice, your highest one may not be very high. But if you start out leveling that one up and getting it to a black die, that's going to be quite potent. Similarly, Longshot works the reverse way, where you fire your lowest attack die, in which case, again, you may want to push them up before expanding out, and you may not even want to expand out, so you always have that ability in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So you'll find your comfort zone, you'll find what you like, but like almost everything in this game, it's highly situational. There will be times, there will be scenarios where you may not want to play the way that you normally do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so when I first started playing this way, I wanted to get all the dice, and I was rolling a few misses, and it was just, I wasn't able to plan around that hero when I was, you know, either if I hit for 4, it's an overkill, because most units have only 2 or 3 health, so suddenly I'm thinking I need more reliable, so I found having 2 black attack dice to be much more consistent and much more strategic, and it was fascinating to see the differences when you build the attack dice this way or that way. Yeah.
And just while we're on the topic, right now, where the game is at, you have the freedom after a lethal event to choose the upgrade of your choice, be it HP, leadership to get more units in your army, or that attack. So you might be asking yourself, well, why don't I just pump all of my stats into attack? And the very cool thing that we have found through play is you can't hyper-focus like that. If you pump all of it into your attack, into saying, I want 4 black dice, your hero is going to be so weak that you will not stand a chance, regardless of that, in the fights that count. The way it is set up and the way the game plays forces diversifying these upgrades such that we don't have to cap them.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Certainly, you can try to just go all health or all, you know, roster or all attack dice. It's fun. Mm-hmm. All right, so I think we are kind of reaching a point where we're going to check out Bing Ching's end of Act 3 battle, and then hopefully, if I survive, I can get to Decimus and, you know, hope that I can take down Decimus. So, we'll see.
Good luck.
Thank you, Logan. Thank you. All right, so I need to get my bearings here. So, if you were with me on, I keep thinking Monday, but Tuesday, we launched on Tuesday. If you were with me on Tuesday, you saw where I was at the start of Act 2, and I took us through a number of weeks. There was some spectating, there was some lethal, there was some sports, and you got to see 3 different arenas. Today, by the way, I confess, I continued to play and I couldn't help myself. So now, where I'm at is kind of nearing the end of Act 3. So I did have some success on my journey to take down the Parthian. So I was going to go for Decimus before, but I had to pivot again. I ended up coming over here and ended up taking down the Parthian. So he's in the discard. So now, with the end of Act 3 here, I'm going to take down my 3rd and final Primus, Decimus. And then after that, we would move on to Act 4. So you might see some of Act 4 and a Scion next Thursday on the last day. So let's bring our focus to here. I'm going to just clean up the board a little bit. We made a mess showing off the components here. So right now I'm in the Vesuvius region. I'm going to just set this over here. There's a lot more chips in my bag after all those events, you know. An extra local unit has slowly been fueling the bag. Meanwhile, I've managed to expand my roster. You can see that I've got a couple of everything. So I've got defenders. Bing Ching is actually a defender. Attackers, archer, tactician. Perfect. 3 attackers. There we go. And then I've got a couple of tactics. And I have some opportunities. These opportunities are what allow me to get those prowesses. So I got one more prowess earlier this act. The ultimate sacrifice. Let's just take a look at my prowesses here. So again, these are only achieved when completing an opportunity. So I was able to get the ultimate sacrifice, so I need to keep an eye on that during battle. When a non-defender unit would be defeated, you may sacrifice a defender to instead set that unit's HP to 3. So that's interesting. I do have 3 defenders. Obviously, I won't be sacrificing my hero, but I could probably commit my defender to battle early and somehow maybe maintain 1 HP if I do it right, and then do a little swap and commit my attacker, and when the attacker would be defeated, I could just sacrifice the defender. That's very interesting. And of course, the mother of all prowess, anytime you may deal X damage to Bingshing and add X HP to another unit. So I do have a lot more control over those surprise attack rolls that my opponent would have on me. Here's my 2 opportunities. Now, opportunities, again, if I complete them, I will get a prowess reward, and we unlocked a couple of others that will allow me to get the chips. I won't be using them today because I've been playing without them now. But exterminate, clear all units from a region that is not local to one of your Primuses. Yes, so just looking at my roster with the second camera here, we're going to zoom out. So I see that I have 1 Atlantis unit here, and I have 2 Parthian. So I could end up making my way, just making a pit stop in one of those regions, and it would just take a battle or 2, and I can complete this for a prowess. That's something I'm going to keep in mind before I get to the Scion. Over here, Flawless says, win 4 consecutive sport and lethal events without spectating in between. That's interesting. I mean, hopefully it would be a string of sports because they're less detrimental than lethal. Lethal usually makes me need to spectate to heal my hero back. So I'll keep an eye on those. Over here, alright, Vesuvius. So again, Vesuvius is the arena that I will eventually come back to take down the Scion. So I'm kind of just passing through Vesuvius. Absolutely, there's a set of rules for Vesuvius. It's a little bit more, shall we say, standard arena, because the Primuses are full of flavor and customized special rules that we wanted Vesuvius to feel a little bit more different than the rest. It's not as unique, it's more of a plain one. But Pluto's rules for this one is only 3 gladiator challenges are permitted on the arena at the same time. So I can't have more than 3 units on this arena at the same time. Even if the event tells me I can have 5 or 6. The recruiter is for the Scion setup. King of the Hill says if I start my turn on a summit, so you can see the King of the Hill icons up top here. So that'll be if I have a King of the Hill event. The monks are pretty straightforward on this one, just closest weakest for all the units. I'm going to put this over here. Alright, so let's dive in. Okay, so on my map, I'm going to make my way to Decimus. Decimus is over here. So I can see I got a couple of path options, but first and foremost, I need to go there. So this is a lethal event. Let's draw one, put it there. The Forgotten. X equals 1 plus the number of units left in your hero's faction stack. Okay. So I'm looking over here. I've got 1 hero in my Kunlun faction stack, because that's Bingshing's faction, right? So X 1 plus. So it's this unit, plus there will be another unit. And then, also, keep in mind, now I'm in Act 3. So I will be adding a Gladiator and Tactic to the end of the lineup. So that makes a 3rd Gladiator in the lineup and a Tactic associated with that one. So we're going to go ahead and build their lineup, starting with the Cestus, because the first unit is, actually for this one, the first unit is not local. That is very good news for me. And by the way, yeah, the Kunlun unit wouldn't be local to this arena anyways. Okay, so 3 units. Starting with the first one, we have Pluto's Refugees, the Parthian Camel Knight, and Atlantis Retiarius. So I'm going to go ahead and put these here. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a local unit for this unless I spectated, which I'm not going to. Alright, so it's Ignean with Intercept Blow, Camel Knight, also Intercept Blow. Both are defenders. And then Retiarius with Hook. I'm not worried at all. This is good that I don't have any attackers. Alright, and then Retiarius, being a tactician, will be assigned a hamstring tactic that it will play. So I'm going to go ahead and put that over here. Event. Alright, so I have to use my hero plus 2 units. Let's begin. Ignean will deploy 5 HP on position number 1. And again, this is a lethal fight, so I just have to defeat him. Defender can't move its first turn in play. That's only for tacticians. My turn. I'm thinking actually I'm just going to bring out my hero. Partly because I don't want to lose any of these units. I want my options for Decimus. Also, I'm a little confident that I will have success with this fight, especially if I use my hero because I have 4 attack dice. So Bianxing's the defender, can't move first turn. Next is Camel Knight. Here we go. So Camel Knight will be deployed on position 2 with 5 HP. Now, these gladiators will move to closest weakest, and in this case, it's only Bianxing. I've got 2 options. I'm going to move them over there. My turn. Let's get a crossbowman out because of the dig in skill, which I love so much. So I'm going to put crossbowman over here. The dig in talent, I'm going to just kind of put this down right here. Alright, dig in. Just to recap, if this unit did not move this turn, add a black to its basic attack. So what's cool is innate skills are active. The unit is deployed. The turn is deployed. Not the specials, not the abilities, but innate. So I can absolutely use the dig in as soon as it comes out. And because it's an archer, it can attack first turn it comes out with the first strike ability. So that's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and step up with Bianxing here. Because I know that this unit has only 1 move, I'm going to make that Camel Knight wait yet another turn to reach me. Here we go. Let's attack. Bianxing has a black, a blue, and 2 yellow. Let's go ahead and start with that one. Just 1. Ouch. And then the crossbowman will attack. Including the dig in with the black. Just 1. I'll take it. I'll take it. Now, the intercept blow won't trigger until a unit adjacent to it would be defeated. It will trigger the intercept blow. So we'll see that in a minute. Alright. AI's turn. Retiarius is out. Position 1. Tactician move the first turn that comes into play. But before I get to that, I have Hamstring. So the Hamstring has now been made available to be played. Because there's a Tactician in play, it will be played on the... We're just going to bring this up here. The AI Tactics assignment is here. So, with the Hamstring, it's going to go on the enemy with the most basic attack dice, but it does not play on elites. So in this case, there's only 1 unit that it can be played on. The crossbowman. Ouch. I'll put that here for a reminder. Alright, so if I move the crossbowman, I won't be able to attack with it, but I'm not too worried about that. Alright, movement phase. This unit's already adjacent to the closest. This one will pursue this one of the 2 because closest weakest. And this is weaker than that, but it's still just moving 1 position. The Retiarius will move up to here. That unit will not be able to attack until next turn, though. Okay. So, their turn to attack. This is the only unit that will be able to attack Bianxing. We've got 1 hit. Now the health that I lose on Bianxing is permanent, so I have to be very careful with using Bianxing. Wow. It's almost like I want to get another defender out there and protect Bianxing. Again, it's a lethal fight. I just don't want to risk that. Maybe I'll use a plain defender, a non-regional defender. That'll do the job. And if I lose this defender, it won't be so bad because I would prefer to have these units here. So I'm going to put the defender there. Can't move or attack. I do have 2 units that can. Let's start with the Bianxing attack on this unit. 1, 2. And I had to attack this unit because if I'm adjacent to a defender, I have to choose a defender to attack. And now crossbowman will attack that unit. I didn't move, so even though he's hamstrung, I didn't move, so I can still attack 2. Now, intercept blow. Camel Knight has intercept blow, and it will protect it. So I'm just putting this here. Intercept blow. When adjacent allies are dealt basic attack damage, this unit may apply that damage to itself instead. For the AI trigger, it always triggers if it would result in preventing an ally from defeat. It's saving this guy. So now both damage come to this one. And I actually almost prefer that, actually, because now I can do 2 damage as opposed to 1. This unit only has 1 HP left. So let me just fan the health there. Okay. Their turn. They have no more units in tactics, so we're just going to have them take their turn. Camel Knight moves to closest weakest. If I move here, though, it's going to attack Bianxing. I think I would prefer it to move here, because this is the closest weakest. And these 2 will not move. They're already adjacent to their mark. Let's attack. So, Retiarius for the red. 1 Ignean. 2 more. Ouch! And then we have the crossbowman and Camel Knight. Camel Knight will attack nothing. Okay. I think that was okay. So again, my turn. So now I can't play any more units because I've got my 3 in play already. I do have my tactics. I'm keeping an eye on them. Bolster health and stun. I don't think I'm worried about this yet. So I'll hang on to those. I'm going to try and hang on to them until I get to my Primus fight. Let's see, crossbowman. If I move it, I can't attack with it. I'm going to keep him there. He's still healthy. This defender. Let's do this and this. I'm actually going to hurl now, after the movement, this guy over here. I want to create some separation from the Retiarius and the defenders so that there's no intercept blow activity going on here. Just in case the defender doesn't take that unit out. I want to get all my attack dice on this. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Bianxing to the Retiarius. Come on! Yes! We got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I've defeated that unit. Now, defender will attack Ignean with its 1 black attack die. We're good. That one's gone. Crossbowman will attack Camel Knight. Remember, I've got that plus black attack die from the dig in skill. 2 more. Unbelievable. So now, 1 HP left there. Their turn. They're not going to move. Attack. Nothing. And my turn. I'm just going to move those in just in case. Attack. Perfect. Done. Alright. So I want to be careful when picking up these units. The crossbowman will come back here. The defender will come back here. I have a system here. The hamstring tactic goes away. I'm going to put away this health here. Now Bing-Sheng will keep its health. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ouch. So I had 10. So I lost 4. Ouch. Okay. So let's just review. I have this out on Tuesday. We're just kind of get a close-up of this again. So this is the event phase. What you see here, we did the travel earlier. Event phase, I accepted, it was a lethal event. Okay, success. I will add a die, which I can't, I'm at a maximum of 4. I can upgrade one though. Or, it's current to max HP. I'm at 10, I'm thinking I'll leave it there. And yes. Or I could do leadership. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Let's do the leadership. Alright. Put that over there. The event is discarded. And that concludes that week. I want to make sure I record the week. Let's bring this over here one more time. So that was number 10. So it looks like I'm 2. Let's see if we got the top-down shot again of the map. So ahead of me is this lethal event or this one. So each are in different arenas. That could be interesting. Then there's a sport. I could go into Decimus at that point in time, and if I'm not ready, I may have a chance to sidestep and then in if I need an extra spectate. So that's nice to have that option. Let's take a look at the event coming up. I'm just keeping an eye on it to see what I want to do. So I just looked at it. I'm going to move up. So after I make my decision to move up, I get to pull the event from the deck and read it. It says ambush. X equals the number of paths connecting to your current location. Alright, so this is another one of those that doesn't have a local. Wow! And I almost wanted a local because I wanted one of those Vesuvius units. At least I have one. Let's see here. Yes, I think I'm still pretty confident if I spectate, even at 1 HP with Bing-Sheng, I'll get all of it back. So I could still risk a little bit more from Bing-Sheng before I feel like I'm in trouble. Plus I have tactics. Okay, so let's do it. I accept the event. X is equal to the number of paths connecting to your current location. Looking at the map, there's only 2. So that's why I went north rather than west. If I went west, I would have had an additional opposing gladiator. Let's see, let's put these back in here. So, 2 gladiators from the paths, plus 1, plus the tactic for the Act 3 modifier. I have the hero plus 2, so it's a 3-on-3 again on this same arena. They have an archer, a tactician, and a new Argonaut, Secutor. Ooh! I almost want that unit, but I can't recruit it because it's not a sport event. Alright, let's put this here. So this is a very standard, straight-up battle. We're just going to kind of power through it. The Secutor, being a defender, gets a stun. Alright? So let me just play through this event pretty quickly so you get an idea of the length of time for one battle. Alright? So I won't be doing too much commentary this time around. Let me get Bing-Sheng out. No. Secutor. Alright. Tactician for them. Position 2. Archer moves up. Attack the Secutor. Alright, my turn. I like that crossbowman again. I'm going to put him out. and get that dig in bonus and see if I can take out the archer. Here we go. Just one. And I didn't move up my security. I was too hasty. Oops. Alright, so their unit, security. It actually worked out in my favor. I'll tell you why in a second. Their security. And then now they can play the stun. So ironically, they already had a tactician in play. So they're going to stun a unit. The unit they stun will be the strongest enemy. Strongest being the one with the most HP. I'm actually going to put it on this guy. Alright. So that's going to stay for 1 round as a reminder. Their movement. This unit just came out. He's not going to move. Attack. Closest, weakest. One. And that unit could have moved. Okay. Alright, my turn. Hero has to come out according to my event. Okay. Not gonna move. Dig in with the crossbowman. Sorry, I used the wrong die. But doesn't matter, he only had 1 health. Alright. Defeated that. And can't attack, can't attack. Their turn. We'll remove that. They move forward. We'll have to attack. These are both defenders, so I'll have it attack the security. For 1. I'm going to let it attack my hero on the next turn. So I'm moving up here. No hurl. I like where my units are at right now. So we'll do that attack first. For 1. And then we'll do the dig in bonus for that one. Defeat. Now I've pretty much saved my security at only 1 HP. Again, with a lethal fight, that's super important. But this is I'm gonna lose a few more HP, I'm pretty sure. So let's do this. Benching will attack security. Blanks. All 4 of them. Ouch. With security having absorb, it's only gonna take 1 damage per turn. So that's rough. Their turn. They don't move because they're next to their mark. That's a mess. My turn. I'm not moving my security up because it will suddenly be the mark. With both of these units being defenders, again, closest, weakest. And I don't want to lose this guy in a lethal fight. Leaving him here for the dig in bonus. So let's see if I can get 2 damage on this one. Benching to security. And then crossbowman to security. Security attacks benching. And then my turn again. Benching security. And then we'll do the crossbowman security for 1. Perfect. Done with that. Alright, so I didn't actually lose any HP with benching. Very good. Still at 6. And I managed to save my security unit. Both of these are still with me. That was a very good lethal fight. Alright. In the bag. And another upgrade for lethal. Why don't I just upgrade my blue attack to a green for a little bit more consistency. Alright, just remembering what I have to do here. Discard the event and then record a week, right? So now I'm at 11 weeks. I've got one more week, and then I have to be facing Decimus. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to just go ahead and spectate and move right in for the 12th week. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do the final fight. We're going to see how it goes. I hope I'm ready. Spectate. Healing my hero for 4. I have 10 total HP. Perfect. Spectate does not cost a week, but it gives me a Scion influence. So I'm one shy of adding a Scion Bane into the event. I've been lucky enough to not draw any out of the bag so far with those 2 events. You know, I could battle. I'm not sure if I'm going to risk it because I don't want to lose HP or units, so let's move on in. Okay. So now we're doing Decimus. Pulling up my reference sheet here. So underneath the Act 3 event modifier is the Primus. So I've taken down the first 2 Primuses. They had 6 and 8 health. This one starts with 10 health. I'm going to go ahead and get Decimus out just so we can see just how amazing he is. Very, very difficult to beat. So here I've got 3, 6, 10 HP. Decimus has Absorb, which means I can only hit it for 1 damage per turn. And then Inspire. Let's take a look at that. Thought it would be near the top. Inspire. When adjacent allies are dealt basic attack damage. I'm sorry, that was Intercept. Right. Adjacent allies add number blue attack dice. No, sorry, Inspire doesn't have a number. So it will add a blue attack die to its basic attack when adjacent to that unit. So that unit will get, yeah, and with it being in New Argo, let's get that map out. That could be very interesting because you're going to see the handcuff mechanic that New Argo has, which again makes it very, very different than the rest of them. I believe I'm centered on the, okay, we're good. Let's do the, let's find the New Argo reference sheet. I'm going to put it here for now, so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Alright, so shackled gladiators are deployed in teams of 2 if possible and must remain adjacent at all times until one is defeated. Perfect, so there's a shackle mechanic and they will stay adjacent to each other. Encore, when a unit becomes unshackled, if they have any allies remaining in their lineup, they will return and then be handcuffed with the new guy, which comes out dazed. And then armed, when a unit moves on to a weapons rack, you can see these designations here. They pick up that die and will be able to use it on the next basic attack. When I'm playing King of the Hill, weapons advantage. Local units have innate perfect strike, which means if they land all damage on their dice, they will double that damage. Obviously, if they have more dice, it's less likely that they will get the perfect strike trigger, but devastating if they do. Alright, that's for the purple chips only. I've got 1 local unit. I passed through New Argonauts last act and picked up the Secutor, so I'm excited to put the Secutor into play and have that perfect strike option, possibly. Perfect. So I'm going to put this over here. Decimus also has its own mark and target. It's not terrible. It's not too different from the others, but it'll be closest weakest gladiator, and it will still pursue arena hex if there's no gladiator in play. So that's when it's first deployed. So let's set up the board. Weapons on the weapons racks. Okay. We have Decimus. And back to this sheet. It's Primus and local gladiators. Here's their tactics. And this is where I made a mistake. So normally I would try and buy myself some time to hang out in New Argo to clear some of these local gladiators out and put them in the bag. However, I didn't spend a lot of time in New Argo, so this could come back to bite me. But there are still 4 local gladiators waiting to play, and all 4 of them will now participate against me, and all 4 of them have perfect strike. I'm already very nervous. And then there will be 1 more non-local gladiator after that. So it's a roster of 6. 6. Here we go. First one. One out of the bag. I'm just going to grab one. We have Vesuvius. So thankfully it's not that last New Argo local gladiator, but still going to be tough. I'm going to load up all the tactics now. They have a bunch of tactics. Decimus himself comes with Hamstring. Provocateur. No. Mamillo comes with Adrenaline. And then we have the 5th and 6th unit that come with a tactic. So it's an attacker, so another Adrenaline, and another attacker, so another Adrenaline. I mean, that's a very good tactic for them to have for this arena, but I would prefer that than maybe the stun in this arena. That's brutal. So this could be interesting. Alright. Let's get started. And again, as a reminder, I got 6 guys, including my hero, that I can deploy with. And I have my 2 tactics, and I have to remember I have my prowesses. I'm ready. First to deploy is Decimus, and it is handcuffed with Provocateur. So they come out. I'm going to position them like this. Decimus and Provocateur, both being tacticians, will be pursuing their marks, which is this one. This is interesting. I might take advantage of this. So I'm going to move this guy first before Decimus. Decimus's movement is 2 versus Provocateur's 3. So if I move the Provocateur, it's going to stop there because it's now adjacent to, it's as close as it can get to its mark. And now Decimus's turn, and it's going to pursue this spot. So it stops there, even though it could, it's not going to swing all the way. So here we go. Decimus is 1 away from that spot. I like that. But, so I have a unit that has 3 range, harpoonsman. I'm tempted now to come out firing with that unit. He's pretty vulnerable though. And I also like Secutor. So Hamstring will be coming soon, and Hamstring will go on the enemy with the most attack dice, the harpoonsman. I rather like that too. I don't want the Hamstring on Secutor. Let's do that. Perfect. So Secutor up there, harpoonsman down here. They're handcuffed. Now remember, Secutor has perfect strike. This one does not. Neither can move, but the harpoonsman can attack. So we're going to do that right now. Harpoonsman will attack Provocative. Misses. Their turn. Hamstring on Harpoonsman. So now when that unit moves, I can't attack with it. That's going to make for an interesting play. By the way, they also deploy the momentum. Oh, sorry, yeah. So with both units in play, no more new units can come out until I defeat one of the two. And remember, and also, what's different from Too Many Bones, for example, is that even if I defeat Decimus, I still need to defeat the rest of the roster. So I still am kind of keeping an eye on Decimus, but taking it out will not win me the game. So I want to make sure I play it right. If I defeat this unit, Decimus goes back to the spot to grab a new handcuff. So that's pretty cool. Again, that's why I chose the Harpoonsman. Their movement, here we go. So Provocative cannot improve its position from where it is, because this is a lateral move. So Decimus will move first. And Decimus has to move all the way to there to maximize its improvement towards the opposing unit. Now I check back at Provocative, it can improve its movement, so it will then move as well. And this is the closest weakest in this case. So it'll move here and stop there. Provocative attacks Secutor. 1 black attack die. It's a hit. And he hits for 2 with Perfect Strike. Ouch! Not good, not good, not good. So already I'm tempted to start burning my tactics. Bolster health. This guy has Perfect Strike. I've got to keep him alive as much as I can. I've got to. I'm concerned because when Decimus moves in, Secutor is probably a goner next turn anyways. So it may not be worth my time to bolster. I'll do it next turn if I manage to take down Secutor. Okay. Hanging on to that. And that. I can do this. Okay. Neither unit are moving. I'm going to attack right from where I'm at. This guy's got Hamstring, so I'm definitely not moving him. I suppose I could move this guy up. It really doesn't matter. Maybe it does. Okay, so Secutor will attack Provocative. 1 green die. If I do hit, though, Perfect Strike will take him out. So I need to hit this one. Yes! So Provocative is taken out. I made the mistake, though, of not attacking Decimus with my Harpoonsman first, though, because I could have gotten the health out of him. But instead, what happens is I have to stop doing what I'm doing immediately, and Decimus will return back to these positions. My turn, I mean, if I could reach him now, I can still attack, but let me just bring this up. Encore. So when a unit becomes unshackled, if they have any allies remaining in their lineup, immediately return them to the starting hex, shackle them to the next available unit. New unit is dazed, and surviving unit is not. So I missed out on my opportunity to attack with Harpoonsman. It's their turn. Miller will come out. Handcuff. Really, I have the option of whether I wanted it here or here. I don't think it matters this turn. So I'm going to go ahead. This unit's not dazed, but it can only move that far because of the handcuff. My turn. So I'm liking playing Bolster Health on this unit now. Let's do it. And that goes back here. Alright. I can move the harpoonsman, swing the executor to pick up that die. With perfect strike, though, that's not... That could be risky. Wow. But if I do that, I can see that they would be able to... Decimus will be able to reach me and attack, so I'm going to make sure they can't. So I'm going to swing Executor over here right now. No. Here. Doesn't look like I'll be able to avoid an attack from Decimus. But I really want to start plinking away at Decimus, so I'm not going to move the harpoonsman. Let's try it, though. So I got one. Good. With the absorb, I can only hit it for one. Anyways. Oh, I realized that I had absorb. I didn't need to remove 2 HP earlier. So I missed out on that. I should have 5 HP. Okay, their turn. They can play a tactic because it's now available. That's interesting. The tactic will go on the unit with, but it's a non-elite unit. So that unit can move 3. Doesn't help it right now. 1, 2. 1, 2. Decimus has, now with this die, attacking Executor. But with absorb, I can only take 1 damage, so that's huge for me. Alright. My turn. I'm gonna stun Momelo. I need to get a couple more shots on Decimus. So harpoonsman. For 1. Executor. For 1. That's 2 more. Decimus is down to 7. Sorry, yes. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you'll notice the 8 there, that's no longer the correct health stat for that. It's a 6, 8, 10, depending on the act. So ignore that. Right now Decimus has 7 HP though. On their turn, this guy can't move, so Decimus will stay put and attack. It no longer has that bonus attack die. With my absorb, it does only 1. The stun goes away. My turn. Now I'm getting nervous about this guy. I almost want to take it out because of the perfect strike. So let's give it a shot. Executor to Momelo. I must hit. Yes! Perfect strike triggers. 1, 2. However, I just realized I have, unfortunately, Momelo is an attacker type, so it will retaliate. So that's actually very bad for the Executor. Now I only have 1 HP, so no matter what, the next turn when I get attacked, I will be taken out. Provocator's coming up. Let's do harpoonsman on Momelo. If I land this, I will reset Decimus in the back. Very good. Okay, maybe I'm okay. Alright, Momelo's down. Decimus will be going back to grab another handcuff. I'm doing very, very well, but as soon as this guy falls, I don't really have a very good unit to stay alive with. And again, the hamstring. Ouch. Here we go. So, Tactician can move first turn it comes out into play. Decimus only has 2 movements, so we're going to do this, this again. My turn. I have to keep plinking away Decimus with harpoonsman. Executor's going to be gone. I wonder if it would be wise. Nope, I can't do it. So harpoonsman to Decimus. Got one. And Executor won't attack. I'm not in range. Their turn. So I can choose to move Decimus first. Maybe swing this guy over to this side. Alright, so this is interesting. It doesn't matter, I guess. Provocateur, True Secutor is a hit. Perfect strike, but absorb would only reduce it to 1. I'm gone. So face down. So now I've got 1 unit already spent. And yes, I'm still feeling very confident about this. They've got 2 down, I've got 1 down. Alright, so what happens is now that I've lost a unit, my harpoonsman would come back and be reset. Not dazed, but my other units would be dazed. So this is tough because now they're in commanding position. And I really could have benefited from maybe coming over here somehow. But because I didn't move, I allowed them to crowd my deployment hexes. That harpoonsman is so vital. Magma Rager with the Retaliate. 3 health is important because of I do like dig in and being able to take it out first turn. Yes, let's try that. Another archer. They're low on HP, but right now my goal is to take out the provocateur. For this arena, I've got to make sure I keep resetting Decimus and keep him at bay. But I'm not going to make the mistake of not attacking with harpoonsman first. Let's start with that. For 1. And crossbowman. Archers can attack first turn it comes out, plus the dig in. So we've got these 2. I only hit for 1. Shoot! I was hoping to take it out. I really was. So maybe I should have saved on the harpoonsman. Alright. My turn is over. They're up. Nothing comes out. No tactics are played. This unit will improve its position. Let's see here. We've got... If I have Decimus attack, Decimus has to attack the closest weakest. But who do I want Decimus to attack? This one. So, and by the way, I forgot about the Inspire. Inspire. So they each inspire each other. Decimus would actually get an additional attack die of blue. Here we go. Lots going on. And provocateur would get these 2 on its target. So if I have Decimus take out harpoonsman first, the provocateur will still get a turn. Yeah, I'm just checking the encore. It's supposed to end their turn when they get unshackled. The turn is over and it's transferred over to me as I reset and bring out a unit at the start of my turn. So if I have Decimus defeat harpoonsman, I effectively save the crossbowman. I think that's the plan. So we're going to do this. Only one harpoonsman survives. So then I guess the provocateur will get a turn. These 2, it's a double miss. Unbelievable. That was very lucky. Very, very, very lucky. That might have actually sealed my victory. At least it will help tremendously. On my turn, I don't have any tactics. Okay. Okay. Harpoonsman to Decimus for sure. And I just needed to hit 1 because it's got that absorb. And then crossbowman with the D again. Perfect. Defeat. And reset. So I've got him down to 4. I can do this. Decimus will deploy with yet another local unit. Marmillo. I'm going to put this on. Yeah. Okay, Decimus improves its position towards the closest. Weakest. Middle can't move. My turn. This is perfect. They're in perfect position for me because of that's 2 away and that's 3 away. So as I found out, like, archers are super critical to collect for this arena, especially the harpoonsmen. I've been able to take advantage of that. Adrenaline, 2, lowest movement. So I've been able to take advantage of that 3 range so often. Alright, let's do this. My turn. Harpoonsman and crossbowman. So Decimus is down to 2. Still not out of the woods yet. Still have work to do. Their turn. Nope. This guy moves 3. The attacker moves all 3. Decimus moves both. Ouch! So we're in the same drill. I have to decide who I want to let go of. Maybe I want to save my harpoonsman. Because of that 3 range, it gets me that extra attack that I think I could benefit from next turn. The reason why I'm talking about this is if I have Mermillo defeat crossbowman somehow with a perfect strike, or get it down to 1. Okay. And by the way, with the Inspire, nope. Okay, so Mermillo only did 1 damage. Decimus will attack the closest weakest, so that's still the harpoonsman. It just needs to hit for 1. So my harpoonsman is down. I'm still ahead of them by 1, but a little bit more than 1 because their Primus is hurt. So I'm still feeling pretty confident. Question is, do I bring my Primus out now? That can be dangerous. I still have a couple more units. So I want to be actively thinking about Act 4. This is still a lethal fight. These 2 units I just committed and lost are gone to me. So I'm already going to be set back a week or 2 in the start of Act 4. So if I bring Bing Sheng out, I risk losing the game altogether, but because I could be locked in place here, but I could risk it and save a couple extra guys for Act 4. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to spin my Magma Razor here. I got to do this. Okay. This one comes out dazed. Crossbowman can attack first turn. I'm still going to keep grinding at Decimus. Got 1. But Decimus has 1 HP left. I'm in very, very, very good shape. I removed the weapons. Okay. Now it's their turn. Funny enough, so if I have Decimus attack first, Decimus will take the crossbowman. Because it's the weaker unit. But just in case, I actually want to save the Magma Razor. Yes. Okay. Mermillo. 1, 2, 3 with perfect strike. It does 6 damage. Fortunately, I didn't have a defender there, so it's only going to do all 2 of my health. So now, 3 units down, 3 units down. This is a tight race. Wow, wow, wow. So now, I'm reset. I pick up the Rager, I have to deploy. I do have Meteor Fighter, which is interesting. It actually makes it harder for them to trigger the perfect strike. Wow. So after I choose my last unit, the unit that comes out after this has to be the hero. The hero has to be one of the 6. So if I choose Meteor Fighter, I'm not able to use these. I like that Retaliate. It's so safe. Okay, cataphract then. Just in case I need to retaliate, to lean into this unit to end the event, I have both my retaliate units out. Alright, so now I'm down to these last 3 units. 1, 2, 3. This guy's coming out next. But, good news, my turn. Okay, so Magma Razor can attack Decimus. We're going to take him. We're going to take him. Now I get a +1 black die from Blasphemous because Decimus is an elite. So this is the moment. But I only need to hit 1. Alright, Decimus is down. Boom. So now I'm sitting pretty good. I'm sitting pretty good. Oh, yeah, okay. So Valus will be deployed. 3. Let's set them up like this. And Adrenaline will be played, and it's my choice because they both have 2 movement. Let's put the Adrenaline on Mamelo. Yep. Oh, so Mamelo has 3 move. So it has to go on Valus. Now they each have 3 move. Perfect. Movement. So to that unit. This guy's dazed. My turn. I'm doing the full 2 and 2. Perfect. I could come over here to pick up the weapon, but at this point I need to wrap it up. They're down to 2 units and then maybe to 1 if I do this right. Blasphemous now doesn't trigger anymore. So that's that unit. Fury Aura. So after movement, Fury Aura 1. I trigger that. That unit is dealt 1 damage. So I'm feeling pretty good about taking this unit out. Magma Rager. Got him. Okay. Okay. Mamelo is down. So now I'm in good shape. Valus will not reset because there's no more units that are going to come out. So he will simply go to the closest weakest. I'm going to send Valus to here. Let's just get a reminder on what deflect is. Deflect changes all. So we're going to zoom in here. This unit may only be attacked once per turn. No! Okay, so I won't be able to defeat it this turn, but I'm feeling pretty good about the Fury Aura, which is separate from the attack because it's an ability. But anyway, so Valus's turn, it moves. It's going to attack. And my choice, this is the weaker unit, so I'll let it attack this one. The reason why it's my choice is, again, closest, weakest. They're both the same weakness, so I get to pick. So, on the Rager for 1. My turn, I have no tactics. I'm forced to, if I reposition, I end up out of range, but normally I would maybe try and swing to pick up a weapon. Which is interesting, because this unit can't attack this turn anyways. I might as well swing them back for options. Like that. Okay. So, Fury Aura for 1. And we're going to attack. We might be ending this now. We got him. We got him. We got him. We got him. Perfect. Perfect. Cataphract defeats Valus. And ultimately, we have taken down Decimus. If I had lost one of those, Bing Shing would have had to come in and finish the job. So that is very, very cool. I liked how the positioning worked when it came down to 1. The weapons were not as tempting as I thought they would be. Last battle they were. I had a lot more maneuverability. But because of that hamstring on my harpoonsman, it pretty much locked me down. And that was very interesting because I worked myself in a bind here. But I was able to get ahead in terms of number of units taken down. Had I not been able to do that, I would have been in bigger trouble. Alright, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Harpoonsman here. Okay, so these two survived. They come over here. Very important. The cleanup phase. Alright, so we're just going to take a look at this. Alright. Lethal event, which it was. Alright. I get a reward. I've already passed the Act 3. My reward is now I have to get a Bane. I'm going to take that Bane chip, throw it in there, and I get to heal my hero to full, which it already was. So, yep. That wasn't much. And then, yes, so these three all go into the bag. These units all go into the bag. Tons of new Argo units just ended up in there, just like Parthia had that happen, and Atlantis had that happen. But for yes, and then so Decimus is discarded, and check it out, guys. So because that Primus cleaned out all of the locals, I'm looking over here and I'm checking out my Exterminate prowess. It says clear all units from a region that is not local to one of your Primuses. Here we go. So I've cleared out, by way of defeating the Primus, I've cleared out all of New Argo. So I get to gain the reward, which is a hero prowess. So I'm going to put that there. And here's my hero prowess options. We won't get too into this. Now, some of these are being modified and rebalanced here, but I just want to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Strength and numbers, level 1 and 2. Health and hearth. Shell formation. Joyous respite. So I like using a harbor that doesn't cost a week, but that's only going to save me, you know, late game. It's not going to save me too much, I don't think. Whenever I gain a capacity upgrade, I could heal for 1. I've already maxed out on the HP upgrades. How about this? Whenever a defender is deployed, adjacent ally to an allied defender, add 1 HP deployed unit. So I'm putting my prowess there. So these will get put back. Perfect. So I'm getting a little bit better, and I'm ready to start my final run to the Scion. And you will join me next Thursday, and I'll show you the last, maybe a couple of arenas and the Scion battle. Again, a reminder that we have that contest next Thursday on YouTube for the 3 copies of Hoplomachus Origins. Right here. We would love you to win one of these. And also, let's see, it looks like it's getting close to 1 o'clock. In just over an hour, please join Shannon and Gaming Rules live stream. This is happening on our YouTube channel, or Gaming Rules, yes, on Gaming Rules' YouTube channel. Shannon's going to teach Gaming Rules how to play Victorium. So you will see even more arenas, even more action. And I'll see you next Thursday.